Hello, Self, Cosmos, Ohana, Soul Dr. Nick here. Magic Mirror work for, this is Thursday, October 30th, 2025. Wow, still seeing a spider's web in front of me. That's pretty cool. Anyways, a reminder to myself and anyone who happens to be watching these crazy videos, this is for me, by me, through me, as me, to allow me to practice speaking, seeing myself, not really for you, and that's okay. That's part of the point. Can I create without trying to create for an audience? Because the person who most needs to hear my story is me. And so last night I got really scared. Some dear loved ones decided to try to scare me, and it worked. And it reminded me of all the times I got scared in the dark when I was a kid and lost my shit. Because like I did not like feeling like that again. And it was just a reminder of the blame and shame game and the victimhood of going, wait a second. And it's never about the event that's happening. It's about what it brings up in all the past. It's like all the past stuff came up. And I was like, I don't want to have to feel this again. And easier to say, you guys have to not do this. And the more challenging thing is to actually be within the moment. This is what it is. To know that it might happen again in the future. And then to be able to ask for what I want and to be able to recognize I can't control the external environment. I can only be with the internal. And just noticing the fears that are still there. There's still fear that I'm working through. There's still traps that I'm working through. And then it led into today. I had a founding call with my dear founding partner, Matt. And he's really good at helping me get clear. What am I trying to create? Okay, I'm trying to create beautiful Ohana breath community, people being able to come back, themes, a place to return to, growth, expansion, a returning place. And that can grow organically, that can grow with even ads, that can grow with a place that we can contribute to the wider society and play and experience and have longitudinal impact. And what I'm actually trying to create is bespoke work for people to have a really almost hard reset to find that, some of the themes are radical selfishness, playing by your own rules, stepping outside of victimhood, stepping in the divine masculine, feminine, knowing intuitively that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, and then knowing logically as well, everything exactly the way it's supposed to be. And what's really good is that we go back and forth. He helps me to create clarity for myself and for himself so he can actually create his part and make this really clear. Okay, this is what we're creating. This is what it is. This is actually stepping into the future and being with the present. And I'm saying all this because the website will be relaunched in a couple of weeks, being really clear on the offerings. What am I offering? I want to do things bespoke. I love when I speak with someone to get really clear, what is it that I see out of all the tools, out of all the resources, out of all the people, out of all the things that I've done that they may need. And I really have gotten a lot out of being who I am, having gone through the whole schooling system, become an MD, having gone through sports, having gone through extracurricular, having gone through becoming a father, becoming a husband, redefining my relationship with family, wealth, health, healing. The video that's done the most is healing from my lifelong asthma. And not surprising, how many people are looking at healing from chronic diseases and how the healthcare system, it isn't that it's failing them, and it is failing them, because our healthcare system was never designed for these chronic diseases. Managing symptoms, yes, but actually getting to the root of chronic diseases, it's not the point. And that's part of what I see now is, how did I go from having all these different medications, all these different therapies that I had to rely on just to not die, to now actually living without any of those medications. And then anything I choose to add is because I can see it adding more life force in the moment. And then one of the things I love about listening to Dr. Jack Kruse is like, what would you tell people about the sun? That the sun isn't a toxin. Like it's a thing that we rejuvenate. And having just started watching Superman yesterday, it's so funny that, he heals from being in concentrated sunlight. And how's it that we've forgotten that we are born on this beautiful planet with the sun, and that we are energetic bodies. And it's when we lose all of our energy that we die. A dead body has no active energy. And when we're alive, there's so much active energy. And so everyone's always like, how are you so tan now? It's like, I come up and I be with the sun. It's not always easy. Today I missed the sunrise. I was on a work call, and it took me a little bit to get out here in the cold on the rooftop in front of the fire. And then as well, for myself, it's how do I actually support myself and my family to shift outside of this non-native EMF? We're doing what we can while we're here in this condo, and recognizing the biggest shift we're going to make in the next 3 to 6 months, probably sooner, is actually moving into a home that doesn't have all the density of the EMF around us. And playing with that, because it's not going to be the same. We're used to the conveniences of being this close to everything. And how do we create the conveniences we want, the community we want, the nuclear family option as well? Like that needs to, not needs to, but for us, wants to shift. We want to be in community, we want to share more meals, we want to have more play dates. And our son keeps asking for it to remind us. How do we redefine education and learning? And that's part of it with the breathwork even. It's the learning and the unlearning. It's a school of unlearning. And how do I actually help live the life that I want to live, which is really valuing the time, the experiences, the people I come in contact with, and then supporting those who are ready for that as well. And being really clear what it is that we're creating, because we can create it, we are creating, we will create it. And then being able to notice all the times that I've done things that I'm like, oh, I could have done it better. It's like that's part of the process. Because I'm willing to keep saying I could have done it better, I am making it better. But what has happened is what has happened. And what has happened is leading to what's better. And that's it too. It took me a long time to wake up to this point, 45 years of age. And it's funny, I just read in a book, you know, the old Egyptian mystery schools. You had to be at least 45 years. And you had to have done at least 10 years of the right eye of Horus training. And funny enough that I'm 45 now and reading that. And I've been doing this kind of almost training for the past 10 years, really getting in touch with the intuitive side. And now let's get in touch with the logical side, realizing that everything is divinely imperfect and perfect. And then taking a look at how can I actually access even more of this logic to serve. And then how do I take a look at all the things? There's a really long to-do list. What are the things to do? And I love the wisdom we got from a friend recently. It's like, instead of thinking of what you want to run away from, what do you want to run towards? What do you want to run towards? And starting where I am with what I have, with what I know. And consistently running towards more. And more doesn't mean more. That's the lie too. It's like, let's pack everything busier and busier. Like one of the things is I look at my calendar over the next 2 weeks and it's mostly empty. And thank you for that. And there's so many things that can fill it up right away. And how do I be really conscious not to try to just fill it up? How do I sit with the pains in the body? I hurt my hand yesterday being with all that anger and rage. My body's still recovering from the deep work that I did a few days ago. And being with the discomforts that happen. And then noticing the numbing that can happen. Today I ate some junk, watched some junk. But in that junk, there was some magic. One of the shows that I love is watching Rick and Morty. And it is irreverent, it is really smart, it is really offensive, and it is really mixing the ideas of what reality is. Watching the superhero movies, even watching Superman. It's not the greatest of movies, but man, there's so many little clues and hints, so many distractions that we can see. How many times are things being distracted? How many times are things being predicted? And that's part of it. Like the whole point of artificial intelligence right now is just to try to predict the next move, try to accommodate as quickly and easily as possible. And it's part of that trap. If I'm just looking for comfort, and I watched a video recently, 160 seconds of the trap that we have of modern day living, of being away from the outside, of trapping ourselves inside these hermetically sealed boxes, which the internal air is actually more toxic than the external air. And how do I send the messages of thanks to the people that I love, and also be able to let them know, hey, we don't want any flame retardant clothing. We don't want any unnatural material, so to speak, because it is actually causing more disease in the pursuit of safety. And I can see the point of it. Putting flame retardants on stuff that's for kids, I can see why. Man, I don't want my child to die in a fire, but Long term, all these flame retardants are chemicals that we're exposing ourselves to over and over and over again. And is it a surprise that more diseases are erupting in a natural environment like that? And how do we embrace that technology? Today I had a Zoom call with someone in Bali, which is how I'm able to do the work. I'm recording this with wireless technology. I am using technology when I want to use it, and then trying to turn it off when I don't. And then recognizing it's not just turning off the router, it's turning off all the communicating devices as well, because they'll just communicate louder when they have nothing to communicate to. And that's a sad truth of it right now, that they just keep trying to communicate. Smart devices, are they really that smart? Do we have to bake that kind of always on consuming into everything? Can we allow some things to be static in that way? Can I allow things to be static? And how am I shifting so that I'm coming from a place of not forcing, not trying to carry everything, not trying to pull things along, rather put things out there and then notice what materializes, notice what resonates. And then not have to just change myself to resonate more, but to spark that kind of creativity, that fun, that play, that curiosity. Because that's it. Like, what has me keep doing the breath? I'm curious. I enjoy it. I enjoy being that container. What kind of container do I want to be? What do I want to hold? And part of it is holding the space to shift the relationship with even the idea of non-native EMF technology, everything else like that, especially as we're looking at launching even more satellites into the sky, especially as we're looking at increasing more connectivity. And what does it mean to actually be connected? Yesterday I went for a walk with someone who's in the hospital, and it's one of my gifts that I am comfortable around hospitals, that I can navigate the system, that I have enough of the cognition and credentials to be there. But it's not comfortable for everyone, and it definitely doesn't feel like the same kind of healing space chronically that it can be acutely. How do I notice all these little clues that are planted in the universe that keep showing up? Yesterday was October 28th, and I read a passage in a book that literally cites October 28th. And it's just like, thank you for these clues. Thank you for the clues of curiosity. Curiosity keeps coming up. How do I be more curious about what's going on? Curious about my eyes, curious about my vision, curious about seeing. I saw more colors than I've ever seen in the last few days. I've appreciated more nature. I'm reminding myself when someone else is sharing their perspective on beauty that it can help tune in my own perspective on beauty. Looking at the plants, the changing colors, appreciating the droplets of water and how they reflect the light. Appreciating the moments of being here, right now, the water, the dew on the spider web. How I want to move to a home where I can actually let my cat roam. And that's challenging, because how do I know he can roam safely, and how do I let go of being able to control it all? How do I actually start engaging that part that right now I know financially we're okay, we're building wealth, but where are the places where I'm still getting myself stuck or icky? How do I notice when it's easier to blame others for what I see as the limitations of what I can do, instead of actually acknowledging, holy crap, I'm so freaking lucky that I live the way I do, that I have the people I have, that I have the resources that I have the knowledge that I have the experiences that I've had to do what I want to do, to support the way I want to support, to bring out the genius in others, and have allies help bring out the genius in me. And the genius isn't just the smarts, because it's funny, because I remember less, I'm slower at figuring things out, I am not as quick at certain things. And in all of that, I'm embracing the qualities that want to come up in the moment, because all those aspects are there. And how can I bring up the part where I can see more clearly than I have before? That I'm glad I did the laser eye surgery, and I don't recommend it to anyone else now. But it doesn't mean I also don't recommend it. It's just your choice. I just don't think it is the only way to learn how to see again, now that I've realized our eyes are these beautiful, soft, bulbous things that when you add tension to any of the muscles, it changes the shape, which changes the refraction, which changes your clarity. And then how can I even expand the idea that I can see more colors, experience more, sense more than I can imagine, that we've dulled the senses by trying to tell people these are the only senses you have, that this is impossible. And how many children have shut down senses, including myself, because we've been told it's impossible, instead of your reality is your reality right now. We're trying to help you navigate so you can navigate in this 3D world, and that's part of it too. Working with a mother who's trying to step outside of the reality, but forgetting that part of it is, if you're not willing to play the game, have someone help you play the game. Have someone help you play the game. And then really being clear, who wants to have my help to play the game? And what parts are for me to play? And then again, over and over letting it go. Over and over letting it go. In this life, there isn't a winning, there isn't a losing, there just is. And sometimes, though, it's okay to want to win. Sometimes it's okay to create a win. Sometimes it's okay to watch sports. Hey, the Toronto Blue Jays up 3-2. Can they actually close this out? That would be amazing. And if it doesn't happen, that's amazing too. It's okay. Not being attached to the outcomes. And that's a help too, like in everyone I've served, being that okay with the service I provided and being clear in the service I'm willing to provide and letting go of trying to control the rest. And remembering that I'm really good at responding. How do I want to respond? How do I want to respond? How do I want to contemplate? How do I want to build something for someone? The meetings going back and forth in the building. And then the doing, and then the executing. And it is fun executing for those I'm really connected with. Gonna work with Bob Frizzell soon. Did some great work with some allies. Gonna chat with a friend today. And then let go. So, one step at a time, one moment at a time. Notice where I'm hiding. Come on back. Ciao for now.